Hello YouTube! It has been quite a while since I've uploaded a fish video, about 2 years or so. So this is my 75 gallon tank. If you look at my channel, you'll see that I posted many times about it. And you can probably notice if you do watch the video or have, it's completely different. And I'll tell you the story. Basically 2 years ago, I had about 6 tanks. I got a job and it just became too much. You know, it was a lot of work to maintain 6 tanks at the same time. This is a kind of an embarrassing story, but I changed my ways and it's not gonna happen again. But anyways, so where was I? This is not edited, by the way. I'm not gonna waste my time editing it unless I need to cut something and go upstairs, or I'm not gonna walk upstairs. But anyway, so yeah, basically I got a job. It became really hard to maintain 6 tanks at one time, right? And I've been waiting. So basically, after that, I narrowed it down, got rid of about 3 of my tanks. I had a 2.5 gallon, this tank, a 10 gallon, a 5 gallon, a bowl, and it was like 6 tanks. It was insane. It was a lot of work, and I liked it at the time. It was really fun actually at the time, but it just became way too much work. So basically, what happened was I narrowed it down to about 3 tanks. I would say I had my 10 gallon. I think I had I think I just had my 10 gallon and this tank, honestly. And basically, what happened was, you know what? No, I think I just had this tank, to be honest. I'm not sure, but I think I just had this tank. Anyway, you get the idea. I narrowed down my tanks. And I used to have ballast in this tank. I used to have about ballast shark. Used to have tons of ballast sharks, sorbate tetras, plecos, like a lot of fish. A lot of money's worth of fish was in this tank. And so basically, I had tiger barbs at the time, and I had sorbate tetras, and I had bought red-eyed tetras, and they just were attacking everything. It was crazy. I felt really bad. And I did something even worse that made me feel even more bad. Basically, I got rid of all of my fish. My ballast sharks, I took them all back to the store. And it's sad knowing that I was really sad about it, but I had to. It was a dumb decision. I should have just gotten rid of the red-eyed tetras, as I should have, right? It was dumb, but they were just like killing everything way too quickly. And I had a lot of money of fish in there. They were even attacking the ballast sharks, which were like 6 times bigger than them. Anyway, I ended up taking all of them back, including the ballast sharks, everything besides the sorbate tetras, the red-eyed tetras, and the tiger barbs. So basically, what I did was I took them all back, and then I kept the tiger barbs, the sorbate tetras, and the red-eyed tetras, and they all schooled together. It was going good. I kept the pleco as well because you don't need to take them back. No one ever does anything to them. Took them all back. I got a whole new tank set up and everything. I took them all back. And from there it was just maintaining this tank. And then what happened was I actually stopped maintaining it. I just left it. I didn't feed them. I didn't even feed them at all. I didn't do water changes. I didn't do anything, like literally nothing. I just left it on, didn't fill it, nothing. I just let them all, basically they all died. Eventually they all just died. And it was really, really sad. Like now that I think about it, it was pretty bad. Like it was really embarrassing. Like I just didn't take care of them. It was terrible. That I assure you will never happen again. You know, if I'm asserting, like I'm committed to keeping these fish for, and like at least the full lifetime. Anyway, we come to these guys. So the reason it's set up again, I just drained it. Previously, I had drained the whole thing. Like I had drained everything. I've gotten rid of everything. I closed all my tanks. Then now, because of when COVID hit, that was about 2 years ago. So now that COVID hit, obviously I'm older anyway. I can talk better. I'm not like an idiot, all weird. Before I was like a robot. I couldn't barely talk. But COVID hit, and it was boring as shit. I have a dog, and I wasn't really getting into fish. Like I wasn't like, no, I'm not going to set up the tank. And so I figured because I had one of my tanks still going, just left them there because one of my betas had died. I had a lot of fish die, by the way, and I made sure to do a lot of research this time so that no fish died. Although there is an issue with this one. It's not really an issue, but anyway, I'll get to that in a sec. But basically, yeah, I closed one of my tanks. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well clean it and set it up because I mean it's COVID. I got nothing better to do. There's nowhere, you can't go out anywhere. So I basically set up a tank, and it was a 10 gallon. And I bought tiger barbs because I had had tiger barbs in there with the Danio for so long, months and months. And I figured that these tiger barbs would be fine in it, and they were for a little bit. I had them in my bedroom, and they were doing great. And then I said I'm going to set up my 5 gallon. And you see, the thing is with tanks. With me anyway, I start wanting to set up a whole bunch of tanks, which I was only going to set up 2. I agreed with my mom, and I'm like, no, I wasn't setting up this one because it's huge. But basically what happened was these guys, once I decided to move them downstairs beside my gaming setup and just my computer setup in general, and I did that, and it went great, but they were not doing well, you know, they were stressed, quite stressed actually. And I don't know why. What is that? He's eating some next thing. Anyway, I had no idea why they were so stressed, but they were. I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, well, I know that there's no room or something, but they were doing before I moved them downstairs, they were doing great. So what I do is, okay, the only option that I have is space. Basically, one of the alphas, one of the big boys in here, one of the big males, was making everyone, all the other tiger barbs, stay on one side. He's like, no, you're not coming here because there was no space, right? I had 6 cherry barbs, 6 tiger barbs in a 10-gallon tank, which I did before, and it was fine. But I couldn't do it this time. I don't know why. Maybe a different personality of a fish. But basically, I'm like, okay, I tried everything. My only option is to set up the 75-gallon. I convinced my mom, and I said, if I set the 75-gallon, I'm closing the 10-gallon, leaving my 5-gallon. It has guppies, and I'm just going to have this one. So I did that. And now they're all doing amazing. I decided to buy 3 more tiger barbs and 3 more cherry barbs. So basically, what I got going on in a pleco, basically, they were just eating an algae wafer. The algae wafer's for my pleco. But I can't really get the pleco to eat right now. They are nocturnal, but I had my pleco before eat during the day all the time. So I don't know what's going on. He just moved, so he's really small too. He's not that big at all. So he may be getting used to stuff. Anyway, these guys were just eating an algae wafer. Every time I try to feed the pleco it, they just end up eating it instead. It's pretty funny. My pleco's back there. He needs to get used to me, I feel like, because I feel like he doesn't really know. He's dropping food in the tank. Is he am I trying to harm him? Which I'm not. But he just needs time to learn that. Anyway, they're all fat as hell right now. One of them is too fat he can barely even swim, which sometimes happens. But once the algae wafer's in there, because I decided to go bare bottom. I used to have green rocks. I hated it. It was disgusting. It didn't look natural. So what I did was I just went down by the river. I already had most of these rocks, but I picked out about 50 pounds of rocks and put them on my back. It was crazy to bring. It was pretty far, but I got it. I washed them off. And now I got about 150 pounds of rock in here on the bottom, just bare bottom. Every time I do a water change, I just kind of suck around the floor, get all their poop and stuff. They sometimes they don't really eat their poop, but what happens is they suck it in and they're like, okay, this isn't food, and they push it out. They don't really eat it, and that's just normal fish behavior. They don't actually really have taste. The actual taste that they have is in their gills, right? But yeah, that's what happened, and that's the story of what happened 2 years ago and why I'm uploading now versus because my main thing was fish. And that is why I'm uploading fish now, because, well, I set this thing up about 3 weeks ago, and it's doing great. And I'm not buying any more fish, I'm not changing anything, nothing. If I do buy more fish, which I may, I'm going to stick to only tiger barbs, cherry barbs, and pleco. Because, yeah, it's just simple like that. And I really love these fish. Out of all the fish I've ever kept, these are my favorite. And, yeah, I love them. They're amazing fish. They're very active. Very, very hardy. Like, these guys went through a lot before they finally settled here, and they're hardy fish. Like, they're just my favorite fish, and they all school, and it looks amazing. So yeah, basically, I should have 9 cherry barbs, which I probably do, but anyway, I'll get to that in a sec. I have 9 tiger barbs, 9 cherry barbs, and a pleco. So basically, one of my cherry barbs, I know he didn't die because, I haven't even lost a single fish. I did tons of research. Before I thought I knew everything, which I had no idea what I was doing, honestly. I somewhat had an idea. I did my water changes, I cleaned the tank often. But I used to think that a cycled aquarium means cycled water, which it doesn't. A cycled aquarium, what that actually means is it's all in your filter, basically. Your filter generates bacteria from the fish's poo and stuff. Basically, fish poo out poo. They just poo and pee, that turns into ammonia. And what your filter does is it starts to collect that ammonia. It starts to push it through its filters constantly, right? And then that bacteria eventually starts to break down the ammonia, turn it into nitrite, and then turn it into nitrate, which you then take out with water changes. A cycled aquarium, which is what I thought was just water with basically fish water, which it kind of is, but not really. Fish water is just stale water, honestly. It's just normal water that needs to be changed, right? You need to change out the water. It's kind of like how we need to refresh the air in our houses. It's the same thing with fish, but they use water instead. You need to replace the water, right? Water here is pretty cheap, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, overall, that's what happened, and that's my story. I probably look older from my older videos, and I probably talk a little bit better because before I was quite shy. I don't even know why. I couldn't really do videos well. But yeah, if you like my channel, subscribe, take a like, or give me a like. I don't really care what you do. As long as you watch my video, that makes me feel good. As long as someone's looking at it, that makes me feel happy. Because I like making content on fish. I've tried other things. That's why my title name is called The Everything Guy. I tried to make other videos, but they just don't really. I know so much about fish, and I never really forgot anything. And then I started learning more and more and more. once I got into the hobby again. So yeah, that's my story, and I'll probably be posting a little bit more stuff, like just general things that I'll be posting, and yeah, I'll talk to you in a bit. See ya. Just gotta get behind the camera and turn it off. Anyway, this is unedited, so this is everything that you just saw. Anyway, see you guys.